My movie Recollection Anniversary Edition.
Boom.
This
Anniversary
movie,
edition.
tonight's
Colon
movie.
Pacific Rim Job.
Oh, colon, yes. Pacific Rim was released on July 12th of 2013, so coming up on the 10-year anniversary. And that's actually kind of how we landed on this movie. I think it was Matt who's, as always, coming in with those hooks. And he's
Coming in
like,
with
anniversary.
hooks. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The whole anniversary idea. I think it's a solid idea because I like, it just kind of you get those nice round numbers. It's fun to revisit things after 10, 20, 30 years. So yeah. Let's I like this angle. Let's do it.
I actually was kind of opposed to it because 10 years to me was like too soon. You know what I mean? And I haven't even seen any of those movies. So it really felt like, no, let's reach back to like 93. That's what I was thinking.
Well, we can keep going back.
Right. Exactly. But that's
So
what I was
I personally
opposed to
could
this.
see both sides of the argument.
It's the wrong podcast, wrong show, John. But yeah, we landed on Pacific Rim. But I never saw this before, and neither did John.
No. Had you seen it, Matt?
Yes, I had seen it one other time. Shortly, I didn't see it in theaters or anything, so it must have been that would have been DVD days, I think, 2013-ish. So yeah, I saw it the one time, and yeah, I was not opposed to seeing it again. I'll say that.
Wait a minute, didn't you text like I am indifferent to Pacific Rim, or was that just another classic?
I mean,
One of my classic jokes, man.
Oh my gosh.
indifferent could be not opposed to,
Yeah, I think that was the context. Definitely.
All right. Well, let's talk about the movie itself. I don't know. We'll just dive into it. The prologue, where the whole concept opens up, or the portal to another dimension opens up. Already they're like, yeah, these are aliens. We know they're not coming from the center of the earth. They know there's a portal there, which is interesting. And right away,
perhaps a breach, if you will.
Yes, the breach.
Perhaps a vagina, if you will.
Whoa.
Holy crap. Yeah, that could work.
Oh, we're gonna get right into it.
Is that the symbolism that you saw in there?
All the sexual symbolism going on in this movie.
That's why they said it tasted like potato chips.
Vagina flavored potato chips.
Which, by the way, was never like confirmed. That was from like New York Post.
Yeah. Talking about vagina potato chips.
Yeah.
So you're not sure that it's a real thing, is what you're saying?
I'm not really sure because I checked out that website and it looks questionable. And yeah, V chips. Let's call them V chips.
V chips.
Like the old parental controls on the television.
No, I meant what they're gonna put in our fucking forehead, man.
You know what the serial number on mine was? 666.
Mine was 333.
Mark of the half beat.
Yes. Okay, so what's great about this prologue is that they're just like, hey, guess what? These gigantic kaijus are coming out of the ocean. They're attacking. Then we figure out, oh, let's build some giant Jaegers, giant fucking robots. And it's just like, let's get it over with. This is the world, like get used to these giant things. That's just how life is. In fact, that's kind of earlier before we pressed record, John and I were talking about climate change, global warming, and how we see all these terrible weather shit going on, but we're just like, well, I've still got to go to work. And, so that's how it's treated in this. These kaijus are a force of nature and we just deal with it. We do got to build some giant robots though.
So I wrote a note right at the beginning. How many times, I wonder, do they say kaiju in like the first 5 minutes of that movie? It's got to be like 8 per minute.
Is that a problem though? I think that if they want to get the idea
No,
of
like
kaiju in your
it definitely
brain.
got me used to the vocabulary, and then
Yes.
they got Jaeger out there right away, and then talked about kaiju blood and kaiju blue and all that stuff. Like I
Mhm.
was I was in it.
Well,
Yeah.
we didn't even talk about Guillermo del Toro. Like this is a Guillermo del Toro movie, which seems out of the ordinary for Guillermo del Toro, who's more of a smaller director. He makes smaller movies, more intimate movies, and this is the complete opposite of that. But the opening prologue, or whatever you want to call it, is preamble is very economical. It's very sharp. It's very good. It's very focused, and it immediately sets the tone. It immediately lets you know you got to strap in, because it's the pacing is just a relentless action movie. It stops off here and there and does its little thing, but yeah, I really admired the opening, and I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like it. Just how good, just how economical it was.
Oh yeah, for sure. Also, I didn't realize I was a kaiju fan. I mean, I didn't know that was the name. I grew up on Godzilla movies,
Mhm.
So then I'm like, oh, so that's the word. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, and I guess there's like a whole uh is it a Japanese cultural thing, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Asian in general?
it's an actual Japanese word. I think it
Okay.
translates to like strange beast or something like that. I remember a few months ago on my work chat, people were debating whether or not Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox are kaiju or not.
Oh. Yeah, I like that. That is a good discussion. Like, what defines a kaiju exactly? Do they have to fight other things, or
Yeah,
do they have to be destructive in some way? You can't just
right,
be a
exactly.
giant beast that exists.
I like that a lot. That's cool, man. That should be canon.
And
Uh, and then with the so right away they established the word kaijus and then Jaegers. But I'm like, I already knew what a Jaeger was, baby. Jaeger
gulp, gulp, gulp,
shots.
gulp.
Yeah.
Jaeger bomb, Jaeger bomb.
I've had this discussion before. What is the flavor of Jaeger exactly? I've always thought it was like a black licorice thing, but then
Yeah,
that's not right at all. Like I've
it's
heard people
not.
say it's not black licorice at
Oh,
all.
I thought it was.
Yeah, I thought it was like anise or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I'm not going to have a Jaeger shot now and find out. I have a bottle of Jaeger next to me. There we go.
I'm a vodka man. I thought that's what he was gonna say. Okay, so yes, that prologue, awesome, great start. Let's get into the year 7 of the war. We're gonna be introduced to Rayleigh and his brother Yancey. Because we have to establish the whole idea of like the drifting, the fucking mental link, which I think is, at first I thought it was unnecessary. I'm like, just get in the goddamn robot and fight. But then they're like, no, it's too powerful and it requires two. And then they got to have some sort of resonating bond. And I'm like, okay, fine. But then it just, it's this big thing about like connecting to another person and sharing traumas, basically, right? This movie I thought was just gonna be a big dumb action movie, but the creatures were gonna be cool because I can't pronounce it. Del Toro loves creatures, right? That's his thing. But little things, little bits of writing throughout this movie made me care. I like it.
Mm-hmm. It is a big dumb action spectacle, but you're right. Del Toro is so good with the details, and that's what makes this movie more than the big dumb action spectacle. I wanted to mention a couple of things. I noticed there were no opening credits in this movie, which you do not see that very often. I love that. I prefer that. And I also, I think the biggest fantasy about this entire movie is the world setting aside its differences and coming together, actually united and we have to stop these beasts. I thought that was really cool. And it's really kind of fascinating as you go through the movie how how people have adapted to all this action that's going on around them, cities being destroyed. And it's like, well, we just clean up what we can clean up and we move on with our lives and we go to work still. And it's like, it's just, I think that's how it would really work. Like, this is just reality now. I mean, maybe you get displaced and you got to go to a different city or something, you know, like a Hurricane Katrina situation or something. It's like, oh, these people are displaced now, but I think that is really how it would work. And I love those details.
I feel like if this happened in modern America, half the population would side with the kaijus.
I don't think you're wrong about that.
Well, half of the country wouldn't believe in the kaiju.
Well, okay, sure. Maybe that's more accurate.
Kaiju deniers would be everywhere. Oh God, how depressing. Right. Well,
so you said is his name Raleigh or Rayleigh? What was it?
It was hard to pronounce and remember.
Raleigh, but I don't know.
Raleigh?
Okay. I guess I don't remember from watching it.
I wish it was really with that sort of snotty attitude. That'd be great.
I noticed a line when we were introduced to those brothers. Hey kid, don't get cocky. Pulling out the Star Wars references. But
I felt it was a little too early for that, but
what do you mean?
I don't know. It was so, I was like, yeah, I know that line, but why so early? Like, that should be for later or something. I don't know. It was weird.
Oh, I don't know. I think maybe it was establishing that these are brothers, and well, you know, I spit movie quotes at my brothers, so maybe they're just bonding over movies too. So I have no idea.
All right. Well, in that case, that's awesome. But I needed him to quote one more movie before he died. Like, he just turns and he's like, Rayleigh, it's not your fault. And then he fucking gets ripped out.
It's not your fault.
All right.
But yeah, all the mechanical and all the tech stuff, like you just dive right into it, and it's all detailed and it's all really cool, and I'm fascinated by all of it.
Oh, for sure. But oh my gosh. All right. So Marshall, Stacker, Pentecost, Idris Elba. So I don't watch a lot of movies, you know, it's been a long time. And Idris emerged during that era when I just kind of stopped. And I've always heard about him. I've never seen any of his stuff until now. And he was probably my favorite part of the movie. Like, he was really good. He was,
yeah, I could see that.
Serious, funny, and yeah, everything was good.
Well, this was Charlie Hunnam's first, I think, real big role too, possibly, at least in a blockbuster. And this was kind of before both of these guys really made it big. I think Idris Elba was probably doing The Wire about this time, and Hunnam was Sons of Anarchy was about this time, I would think. So they were TV guys, but I don't think they were big movie guys at this point at all.
Okay, so do you know if that the guy who plays Rayleigh or whatever, is he American or no?
I don't think so. I think he's I don't even, Australian or English or something. Yeah.
This is my only gripe with this movie is his accent. It just didn't ring true. I'm like, that's not an American. That's not your voice. And it's, after a while, it's bothersome because it's like, we have all these different voices from
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is a global effort. Like, it's not going to be weird for anyone from any country to happen to be, you know, like the most talented Jaeger pilot. So why force it to be American?
Oh, and they established that too with I don't know if they were Japanese basketball brothers or
Chinese, please.
I think they were Chinese. And then the big Russians, the blonde. I'm going to do a Russian accent right now. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I mean, that whole idea was definitely established. So yes, why you had to make him American, I guess I don't know.
Because we already have Charlie for that, and he's a great representative of America, I suppose.
The
Charlie
best.
Brown.
Yeah. Let's see where else. Okay, let's get into It's a plot point. So the brothers have to face that knife head kaiju, right?
Mhm.
But I just remember right away, before I even knew what was going on, when his brother was there, I'm like, "You're a dead man. You're gonna die." There was something about the way his character talked. I'm like, no.
I mean, if you're a Yancey, you're not making it to the end of the kaiju movie.
Yeah, it's a trope at this point. We all know that. But yeah, and he ends up getting killed by that knife head Jaeger, which, by the way, might be my favorite. That knife head, that very first kaiju, I liked it, and I wish it would have came back at the end, to seek revenge and shit. Yeah,
I don't know if I have a favorite kaiju. I didn't even write down the different types of kaijus, but I know there's very real thought, lots of thought put into all the different types and why they are different types.
And one thing I read was that even though they were obviously always planning to digitally create them, they made the designs as something that it could be a human in a suit.
That's
So
awesome.
just to like keep it kind of like to throw back to the old way of shooting these.
The old Godzillas and whatnot.
Yeah.
I like that. Is that on Wikipedia?
Either that or IMDb trivia or one of them.
Okay. All right.
I'm sourcing all the questionable third party info about the movie.
Well, that first action sequence, I found it's visually kind of hard to follow. Like it's dark and there's so much ocean. And I was really kind of confused. Like, are these things standing in the ocean? How big are these things really? You don't really get a sense of scale yet. And then after the fight, and then what's Gypsy Danger or whatever it is, ends up crashing on shore, and then you get a real sense of the scale. Like, I love that shot of I think it was like a father and son or something. I forget. They got their metal detector out anyway, and then the Gypsy Danger crashes right next to it. It's like, this thing is like, what, 300 feet tall or something. It's hard to imagine, but yes, it is possible these things were standing in the ocean a couple miles offshore. So that's different.
I couldn't help but notice when the Jaeger was hurt on the arm, they physically felt pain in their arm. Like, that sucks. Yeah, it's terrible.
Is it terrible?
I mean, no, it's cool for the movie. I'm just saying, like, that's a terrible trade-off. Like, I'm gonna get punctured and scraped a lot. This is gonna hurt. And I don't think they really carried that home. They should have, like, got, after the battles, they have like scratches and scars or something, right? Yeah. I like it, but they should have followed through a little bit. But onward. In fact, let's jump 5 years later. All right. Where what's his name? Rayleigh is working on the wall. Fucking Trump, man. He built it. He said he would. And guess who paid for it, motherfuckers? But then Idris Elba shows up to pick him up because he's like, they're cutting our funding. Like, we only have 4 Jaegers left. They're just going to invest in these walls, even though when Rayleigh is at work, they got the TV on, and a fucking kaiju just walks right through one of the walls.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
So this brings up the question though. Like, I feel like there's other options to deal with these things besides Jaegers and a wall. Like, nuke them from orbit kind of thing. Like, maybe aircraft that they can't quite reach, but you can still, shoot missiles at them and whatnot.
That was my thought too. Like, so hit them when they're a few miles off the coast of where they're heading with some bomb of some kind. Let's hit them with, we don't need to nuke them and nuke the ocean, but I mean, it's clear these things can be defeated. And I would think a series of very large bombs would take care of them, but I don't know.
Okay, well, that's fine. But can they have like kaijus flapping their wings and flying and then shoot the laser. Because I mean, not kaijus, but Jaegers, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like these solutions make for a boring movie.
Yeah, you don't want to be deprived of any Jaegers. I am a fan of these things, even though I like the kaijus more. Jaegers still pretty cool. Because I think, I watched a Godzilla movie where he fought a robot dude. I don't remember the guy's name anymore, but I accepted that as canon in my kaiju movies. So yeah, this is cool. Okay.
So who thought a wall was a good idea? Like,
Trump.
what is this wall? What is this wall made out of that they think it's going to keep these kaijus out exactly? And apparently you're putting so many resources into this thing. What is it like? It's taking up the entire coast. Is that the whole idea? The whole Pacific coast?
Yeah, and is it true that we got the kaiju to pay for it?
Came from somewhere.
South of the border for sure.
And there's that whole detail too about Raleigh's character. He's actually working on the wall in Alaska, and apparently he's doing that for a couple of years, just making money until they pull him back in. Tries to get out, he pull him back in.
Oh yes.
At that point, I remembered writing, "Where is OSHA?" in all of this.
Oh, with all the beams and
all the like workplace dangers for both wall builders and Jaeger pilots.
Well, I think it's pretty well established. Like when you have kaijus taking over everything, OSHA's the first. That's
everyone's like,
that makes sense to me. Like
second only to the EPA.
Oh yeah, EPA. Actually, you got a good point there. But yeah, all that's got to go. Forget it.
Let's finally get to the base of operations. I don't remember what it's called, but this is where they're in where are they? They're in China, right?
They're where the heck were they?
Was it Hong Kong? I think
so.
It was Hong Kong. Yeah.
So this is where we're going to meet another name. Maki? What's the name?
Mori?
I thought it was like Maki Mori or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. But she's going to be the one that handpicks Riley's possible partners. And on the way, we also meet Newt and Herman, the research team. Newt, played by Charlie Day. And in another Sunny connection, the guy who played Herman, he was in an episode of It's Always Sunny as well.
Oh, I didn't know that, but I did write as my first and only letterboxed review, Charlie Day and Vern Gorman, name a more iconic duo.
They were good. I liked them. When they tried to like shake hands.
Yes.
So yeah, both those guys are in the episode Flowers for Charlie. That one dude, Herman played the scientist there.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So I always kind of think of old Byrne as being kind of a jerk and stuff. So I wasn't used to him being kind of more like the nerdy scientist guy. Like I don't know if you watch The Expanse, but he plays like an asshole, like law marshal kind of guy on one of the planets they go to, and like he's really good in that. Actually,
I'm so glad you brought that up because now I could bring this up. He was also in Game of Thrones, and he played one of the crows that turns bad. He just fucking takes over that farm, and he's a fucking asshole. I was like really impressed with that guy. So yeah, it turns out he could do it all, or at least do both. That's awesome. But let's get into a little bit of information when they're looking at the other Jaegers. They only have 4 left. Last line of defense. It's established that the Gypsy Danger is the only one that's nuclear. Did I pronounce that right?
You did, yeah.
Nuclear. Right?
Nuclear.
Um, Because the idea is that they're going to go for the breach and nuke it, even though Rayleigh's like, we've done that before. But then Idris Elba, of course, just keeps him in the dark. Idris, he's got all these little bits of information throughout the movie. Yeah, he's really tied into the film. But let's get into the Newton Herman. Herman, of course, he's like, oh, numbers don't lie. Politicians do and shit like that. But numbers don't. It's accelerating. The throat, as it's called, will be the traffic because of all the Jaeger, kaijus coming through. It's going to stabilize the throat so that the breach can just remain open, something like that. And but Charlie, he's got his own ideas. He basically just says that he believes that they're clones, these kaijus.
And he's more interested in them as entities than anyone else, I guess, on the planet, probably.
Well, Herman calls him a kaiju groupie.
Yeah,
several times. Yeah.
Well, apparently there's a lot of that going around. There's whole black markets of kaiju body parts, that we get. So it's a definite worldwide sensation. So I think there's a lot of that. But between the two scientists, I would agree with that. But
yeah,
I think it's interesting how he has this plan, and inevitably someone's going to tell him, no, you can't do it. And it's Idris Elba telling him, no, you can't do your mind meld with the kaiju plan. And I don't know why. I mean, we're at a point where like anything should be on the table. If he's going to kill himself to try this out, let him kill himself. I don't understand. But and then that just kind of falls off because he just goes off and he does his plan anyway. And Idris Elba accepts that. So I don't know. I don't know why there had to be any sort of resistance. I guess you got to introduce some sort of conflict somewhere.
Well, I mean, like I said, a lot goes through Idris. It just depends on how his character feels and stuff. He is he's calling the shots for the majority of the film. But he wants to drift with the kaiju, so he's going to do that alone. Where were we? Oh my gosh. Okay, so now I like this. So Rayleigh asks Mako, like, why isn't she a candidate? Because apparently you're very smart and you've practiced or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like the simulations or whatever.
Yeah, but then again, it's like, oh well, Idris said no. But when Mako, is it Mako?
Mako.
Mako, but Mako says basically, she's like, I don't think you're right for this mission at all. You're very unpredictable and stuff like that. I like the tension between these two because spoilers, at first I rolled my eyes. I'm like, another love story in the middle of a kaiju film. Get that shit out of here. But it's not necessarily love. It's more like a human connection that they have. Again, I mean, I guess this is spoilers, but having to deal with each other's traumas and stuff. But at the same time, they might be attracted to each other. But there's only like this movie takes place in what, a day, 2 days, maybe?
Yeah. And well, maybe a little longer, but yeah, not that long.
Yeah.
So I read Del Toro describing it as all the trappings of a love story, but without them actually being in love.
Yeah, which I like that so much. In fact, I loved that. I love that they didn't kiss at the end. I was like, this is the best thing I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, that was a part of the movie that I loved as well, is that it's kind of setting up certain norms, but then it's breaking those norms at the same time. So yeah, I think they were definitely in love, just the way they were looking at each other. Love at first sight type of thing. But yeah, nobody acted upon it. It was all respectful and go about our business. We got more important stuff to deal with.
And I mean, they were equally matched in martial arts. So if that doesn't tell you something, then I don't.
Well, let's talk about that martial arts scene. Like, what was the point of that exactly? Like, they're developing some sort of connection, like they're mimicking each other's moves. I didn't quite figure out what that was.
Yeah, right. And like, how does martial arts ability translate to Jaeger piloting ability.
It is said in some circles that when UFC fighters fight, they're like, "Hey, we got to know each other. There's a deep connection there." Maybe that's somewhat similar.
Yeah, okay. So it was more about like compatibility and like balance than it was about pure skill in, because I mean you do use some, obviously some fighting moves within the mech or whatever, and you definitely both have to be able to do the same thing at the same time.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could gather from it. It looked like just an excuse to work some kung fu in there, you know. But yeah, I guess it does make some sense.
And of course, Idris, he says no because the Rayleigh is like, "Holy shit, let's just let her be my pilot," you know? He says no. And then fucking Idris goes in the elevator, he starts dripping blood from his nose.
That old cliche. Yeah.
Is it a cliche?
No, that's definitely cliche.
There's an XKCD comic. It's basically like a chart of like stuff that's concerning in real life and stuff that's concerning in movies, and like how it fits on both axes. And at the not concerning at all in real life, but always like the tragedy in a movie is having a bloody nose.
I mean, it's a cliche for a reason. Like it's such an efficient way to get the point across that something isn't right with this guy.
Yeah.
Without having a doctor's appointment or or something like that, you know.
Hello, yes, doctor. Yes. Oh, okay.
I see. Well, I'll just be getting my affairs in order. Well, no, I thought it was just cocaine. He opened up that little thing, that little tin for another bump. That's what I assumed was happening. I thought that was the cliche.
I thought it was just slightly dry in there, and he was me in 4th grade.
Oh, John. Keep your finger out of there too. That would help.
Hey, that was not what happened.
Okay, so let's tap back into the movie where Charlie taps into the kaiju brain, sees some stuff.
And maybe the kaiju sees some stuff too.
Yeah, but okay. What does Charlie do? He bleeds from the nose. That's why I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, he didn't need to bleed from the nose because I was really worried for him when he was bleeding from the nose, just like I was worried about Idris Elba. So yeah, I was very confused. Didn't know what you're going for.
I was like, was the kaiju on cocaine when they drifted?
Oh, that kaiju still living in the 80s. Or whenever that was prominent. I have no idea. Okay, so
to jump ahead though, or
yeah,
like later on when Newt believes that the kaiju is after him specifically, and there's a lot of like evidence in that direction. Is that actually what's happening?
I don't know.
Because the kaiju's like inches away from like taking him, and then just kind of like gives up and wanders off.
I don't know. I was a little confused by that too, but I mean that's what Newt's character believed. Yeah, I don't know. Good question.
Well, that's because Tom Waits told him that, and then
Ron Perlman.
Yeah, remember it was raining dogs in Tokyo or whatever.
Ron Perlman, aka Hannibal Chow.
Oh yes, I like it. Okay, so let's get into the failed first link, because Idris finally like pulls out a little red shoe. He's like, "Here you go." That means you can co-pilot with what's his name, Rayleigh, but things go wrong. God damn it! Yeah,
they do. What happened? What happened exactly?
Well, when they're drifting together, Rayleigh remembers yeah, his brother dying right next to him. And then that throws Mako to her personal kaiju attack when she was a fucking child, which is the most effective, like where the kaijus are really scary. That is the scene for me. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Because it's like so dark normally that you can't really see them and like don't have a good feel for what they look like, the scale and everything.
Is that the moment too where we find out more about Idris Elba and his connection to Mako? I think there's
I think like right at the end of that, don't you?
Yeah, that's jumping forward, but we could cover that. Yeah, he saved her. He killed that kaiju by himself, apparently. Yeah.
One of 2 humans ever to solo pilot a Jaeger.
Yeah.
The other being our buddy Raleigh, just to be explicit here.
Raleigh. Okay, so when the marshal does find Newt, remember when Newt's like, so this was just the first time they were here, they killed the dinosaurs. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
I was like, that's fucking ridiculous. But then I'm like, no, it's dinosaurs actually existed. Kaijus didn't. What's more ridiculous?
I'm behind everything that's happening now, but the fact that they were here 60 million years ago or whatever, no way.
But that's where Idris was like, okay, well, we need, that was just a tiny piece of brain. Go get a fresh brain. Go over to Ron Perlman and go get a fresh one.
Don't the brains immediately decompose upon the death of the kaiju?
Exactly. That's why they got to seek out what's his name, because he extracts brains and pieces all the time.
Yeah,
right?
And then it's like a secondary brain or something like that they're after. Yeah.
And then Charlie was like the dinosaurs did. I'm like, what? Did the dinosaurs have 2 brains? Was that a thing? Have you ever heard of any of that?
No. No, that was strange.
I don't know. I'd believe it.
Sure, why not? We're having fun, right? But yeah, it's kind of funny seeing we get a real glimpse of the kaiju culture when we meet Ron Perlman and they talk about, cuticles and organs and skin mites and all this weird stuff. I don't know, but it's kind of, again, all these details, like bringing this whole kaiju culture idea and how popular it is. I think it's really cool. I liked it.
According to adventuredinosaurs.com, that's a myth that they had 2 brains.
But that was a myth at one time. Wow. Okay. Never heard of that. Wow. Even when I was a child, I would be like, that's a bunch of BS. 2 brains. Okay. So let's get into the fight finally between that Australian son, Chuck. The whole time he's just giving him this fucking look, just talking shit the whole time. I just remembered that character on World Police, where he's like at the pool table, he's like, stay the fuck out of my way.
Yeah, you're right. Definitely some of those vibes going on. Like, why are you like this? Just let's all get along.
Okay, so afterwards, cafeteria, Rayleigh and Mako are outcasts. I believe Marshall grounds Mako. He's like, no, you're not going. You're too connected. You're too passionate. So they're outcasts. So they eat lunch together. And again, there's like this nice little scene where it could be romantic, it could be annoying, but they're again talking about like, when my brother died, I was feeling all his terror and, all that shit when it happened. And I don't know. It's just a nice little moment sprinkled throughout this dumbass movie. I like it. All right, let's.
Those again, all these little details, all these little scenes. I think it all works and it's something different. Yeah. We were talking about what was what's the jackass's name? What was his name? The character's name? The guy that wants to fight Raleigh.
Oh shit.
I think you
Chuck?
just said it. Chuck. There you go.
Yeah.
Chuck, and his dad. But it was funny at one point while I'm thinking of it, they ended up having a fist fight, and Raleigh just kicks his ass, which is awesome and satisfying. But then it's funny how these onlookers just come out of nowhere from around corners, like these people were just standing around waiting for a fight, and all of a sudden there's dozens of people watching this fight. That had me chuckling a little bit.
I wish those two would have been fighting over a tiny model of the city.
That would have been good.
At least step on some Legos or something. That would be great.
That would have been
All
a
right.
good detail.
Oh, you ruined my daughter's diorama.
Let's get into the double event. It shows up on the scanners, so now they're going to send in those 3 Jaegers, except Rayleigh and Mako. I hate their names. This international cast.
Raleigh and Mako, yeah.
Yes. Why can't it be more American?
Yeah, like Chuck.
Yeah, and that's the Australian one.
And Herman had been predicting this double event all along.
Yes, that's right.
The frequency of events would continue to get shorter until there was 2 at once.
Yes.
And then, spoiler alert, 3 at once.
Exponential growth.
Geez. I mean, there's a gigantic battle. I wrote some stuff down, but I'd rather take 2 toys and go to really go into detail. How'd you guys like that fight? Anything stand out? Cool creatures? Anything?
Using a ship as a sword. That was fucking cool. But then is that the point where the actual sword does come out? I think towards the end of that fight. Is that the first time
that's when they're getting flown up into space, right?
I don't know. Yes, yeah. That's when the sword comes out, and then the kaiju gets shredded in midair. But then, of course, my thought was immediately, why didn't you just pull the goddamn sword out right from the beginning? And apparently that's a thing on the internet. A lot of people are asking that question, but that's one of those things.
Right, yeah. Like, are you trying to make a good fight, or are you trying to like destroy these things? Like...
Yeah, exactly.
When that creature did sprout wings, I was like, holy shit, like that caught me by surprise. Like this, again, I am a kaiju movie fan. Yeah, love it. So this was all gravy, man. But okay, so that was a random ass power, right? All of a sudden they could fly. I don't believe they've flown since now, right? But the other one had an EMP pulse.
Mm-hmm.
That's so one thing I was wondering is when Newt drifted with the kaiju brain and like they shared information both ways, did that like give the kaiju race more information on how to like destroy us, basically?
That's awesome.
I think so, yes. I think that's even alluded to at some point. But how does it manifest itself? I'm not sure.
Because like a lot of the stuff, like even shooting the blue goo out and stuff, seemed more like surgical and targeted than in previous fights.
That's right, because that's what they are. That's their versions of mechs, right?
Yeah.
In the end. Yeah. Yeah. We figured it out. But what's up with this though? They're pregnant? There's a baby. What is that?
That was the best laugh for me in the entire movie, was the baby eating Perlman.
You mean Tom Waits?
Tom Waits.
Does anyone else get those two? Like, can you agree that they look somewhat similar now?
Yeah, they look somewhat similar.
Thank you, Matt.
I think if you put them side by side, I think Tom Waits would look tiny next to Ron Perlman, though. I'm pretty sure. I think Perlman's like a big dude, like a 6'4" dude, and Tom Waits is, 5'9" or whatever.
Yeah, that's when him and Charlie have those scenes. They're like almost the same height. I'm like, get the fuck out of town. Okay, so now Newt and Herman agree they're going to Tokyo Drift. I finally got to say it. Woo! And with that baby brain. And again, I didn't think Herman would do this. I don't know. I just liked Herman. He's sweet. He's awesome.
Yeah, he turned out to be a mensch.
I've heard that before, but
is that on your list of words you have to say in this podcast, John?
No, it just seemed natural for the situation.
Let's see here. Where was I? A mensch threw me off so much, John.
So we had the baby kaiju eating Perlman.
Oh, right. So the whole idea is that they learn that they are being created, but they need the breach only allows kaiju DNA, like a fucking scanner. That's awesome. I like that idea.
So that isn't revealed until just before they're all going to go off and actually attack the breach.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's like some last minute shit.
Yeah, but I mean, it's spread out the information.
So
Marshall,
that was after Charlie mind melds with the kaiju brain the second time, and then he goes running in and explains what he saw or what he learned beyond the previous stuff.
That's true. That's true. What does happen next? Marshall finally does reveal to Rayleigh that he has radiation poisoning from those first Jaegers.
Actually, before that, like we see like part of what the general population's response to an attack is, which is basically just like, oh, try to be vaguely underground and wait it out.
All right.
What other options do they have?
Right. And then that's the scene I was talking about before where Charlie believes that he's being specifically targeted and whatnot.
I think at some point when we first are introduced to Charlie, he's talking about the Jaegers are 2,500 tons of what is it? Awesome or awful, he says. So I mean, just to get an idea again of scale, 2,500 tons. Seems like if they're walking in the middle of a city down a street, like the concrete below their feet is going to be collapsing. I would think when you got that much weight going on. So these people underground, I don't know how safe you are, but yeah, I mean, what options do you really have? I don't know.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, and it's also weird that like these kaijus will just look at someone and just attack. Like, remember at the very beginning, they see that boat. The kaiju could just keep walking, but it was like, oh, I'm gonna kill this boat. Yeah.
Oh, in that scene too, where they're destroying Hong Kong or what I think they're in Hong Kong. Yeah. There's a point too where there's a punch into a building and then the fist stops on one of those things that goes click, 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 click. And that felt kind of out of place. I didn't understand. That's like one of the few things I didn't like about this.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It did. Yeah.
I think it was just a reminder.
I don't even know what you call those things. Do you
know, like Newton's marbles or Newton's balls or something like that?
Newton's balls.
By the way, what was the currency in the movie? Wasn't it like new bucks or new dollars or something like that?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that either.
New yen.
New yen.
Kaiju blood.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into this. Is the final act. This is the final chunk where they have four categories, something like that, waiting at the breach, almost as if they're protecting it. So since the Australian father's hurt, Marshall decides to suit up. Idris Elba is going to suit up with Chuck, the son of a bitch. And they're going to meld and they're going to go in. That's where he gives his, "We are canceling the apocalypse."
Yes.
God damn it. Idris is so awesome. God damn, he's so great in this movie.
Yeah.
I got some Independence Day vibes out of that moment. And there was a couple moments in this, but that was one movie that kind of sprung to mind.
Bill Pullman wishes he was Idris. In the final fight, 3 kaiju. Oh, okay. So this is the one. Okay, this is the one where they have to go in the water to fight, and there's like 3 kaijus, right? This is where I am not in awe because you want to talk about scale. You see buildings getting like pushed over. Now they're just in water. They could look like they're just having a fight. I don't know. I needed to see more stuff. Maybe a shipwreck inside, or they bust through the Titanic. Is that the right ocean? I don't think so, but like that would have been cool to see. But it's okay, that last fight. There's just a lot more kaiju, but this is the last thing. They don't really have any distinguishing powers in this last battle. We got to see the EMP. Bring it back. What the fuck? Yeah.
Now
it doesn't work. It's nuclear, so it's analog.
Do they know that though?
Now, one of them is it just one of them that's a really good swimmer, or were they all kind of really good swimmers? I kind of forgetting.
It seemed like all 3 of them kind of were. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you mean though. Like there was one that definitely seemed like that's its like main thing is swimming.
Yeah,
the really fast one. Like they couldn't even see him. Oh,
yeah. That was to your question that these ones didn't have any distinctive traits really, and I think you're probably right, except for the fast swimmer. But actually, didn't one of the kaijus, didn't they invent a new category? Was it a category 5 or something?
Yes.
It was like beyond the category 4, beyond anything we've seen so far. And I'm not sure how are they getting these readings actually? Like so they've got this whole holographic model of the breach, but then how are they getting these readings exactly? How do they know actually what's going on at the breach? That I don't think that's ever really explained. And that kind of bothered me a little bit, but
yeah, like where the dishes and the antennas and stuff, like
yeah, okay, so I kind of started to my eyes started to glaze over. I'm like, it's just a bunch of water fights, I want to just get to the fact that Idris and Chuck, they have to sacrifice themselves, guys. Did this pull any sort of shoestrings, heartstrings?
Shoestrings or heart?
Shoestring potatoes.
I mean, I think you're kind of right about the last battle. I mean, it feels like, the final battle at the end of every Avengers movie, although I haven't seen all of them, but I assume they all end with gigantic battles where I get the whole idea of your eyes kind of glossing over. But it was pretty sweet to see them actually go through the portal and then see this whole other kaiju world.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool, pretty sweet. Overall, yeah, the ending was fine. It was fine. I liked everything leading up to the ending better, but yes, yeah. Heartstrings, I don't know if I got any heartstrings. No, I didn't tug any heartstrings. Shoestrings,
has no heart.
Did it tug on my shoestrings? Yes, I went flat on my butt due to the spectacle of it all.
It pulled on my silly strings is what it did for me, man. Oh yeah, that was kind of cool to see the actual aliens. Yeah, like you mentioned, they were just like the one. He was like, "Get out of my way! I want to see this." It's like, "Oh shit," that was kind of cool. But then okay, so I really thought that they were going to both die. Rayleigh and fucking Ryan and Michelle. I thought they were going to die. I thought they were going to sacrifice themselves in the Jaeger, and I was like, "Shit, this is going up a notch," but it's fine. He saves Michelle, sends her up, and then before he has to blow it up, he has to do it manually. That was an extra little wrench in the thing. That was fine. I just wanted them to sacrifice, but he gets out. They embrace. They put their heads together. That felt so much more than a fucking kiss, man. In fact, the next time I see a girl that I am sweet on. And she's like, give me a kiss. I'm like, no. We're doing the forehead thing. Clunk. Yeah. That was the end of Pacific Rim, guys.
But yeah, I agree. I did not expect them to see or to make it to the end of the movie based on what they had to do in the time allotted to them.
I wonder if Del Toro would have had them, die like that, because I don't know, it just felt like he was trying to do something different, yet there was a lot of kind of cliched action spectacle in the movie, which I could only imagine, the studio heads and stuff like that, because we've seen him have to deal with that in the Hobbit movies, where he's like, fuck this. I had to deal with this in Pacific Rim, god damn it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a kaiju movie, so you're going to have a lot of that action. But I was kind of comparing it to the Godzilla movie, the one with Cranston that was made, where there's very little action actually in a Godzilla movie. And I don't know, there's got to be a balance there, because I'm not a huge fan of that Godzilla movie. I wanted more action. I wanted more action in that Godzilla movie. So I think Pacific Rim, I think the action is all good. It's all handled well. I think the best part of the movie is its pacing. It's just, these are the stakes they're set, and everything is leading down this path, and we're on a deadline, and shit's got to get done. And I that's the best part. It is a sort of a nonstop pace, but then you get the little moments sprinkled in, and it's just well constructed. Guillermo del Toro, he's one of the best.
Godzilla King of the Monsters was pretty good. I think this wins out overall because of that pacing. It's just a little bit more chugging along than King of Monsters, but also the humans are they're realized pretty good in King of the Monsters, but this is just better. It's because it's about human interaction. That's the big thing that I take away from it.
Is this movie great? Can a movie like this be great? I don't think a movie like this can be great. I don't consider this a great movie. This is a good movie. This is a fun movie, but it's like the ceiling on a movie like this can only be capped so high. It's like it is what it is, Vince.
Oh, God, you tainted this.
But you guys I assume you're both pretty big fans of this movie.
I like it.
Yeah, I definitely liked it. I agree. I wouldn't call it a great movie, but I would recommend it to anyone.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. The only kaiju movie that I still need to see is Shin Godzilla.
Wow.
That?
No.
I don't know which one that is. No.
That's like where they take Godzilla seriously again, and I don't know. It's a big thing. That was like 10 years ago as well, I think. I don't know, but that was yeah.
Does King Kong count?
For sure, man.
Yeah. Just thinking of like the original 1930s King Kong and stuff, and I guess the thing with that one is like it was our fault, or a human's fault, that King Kong was able to cause any problems, and this one, like, it's not our fault at all. But I guess in the Godzilla ones, it's not really our fault either, right? They just kind of show up.
No, Godzilla was created by by the atomic bomb.
Oh, okay, I've never seen a single Godzilla movie.
The first Godzilla movie is a drama. It's a serious, like, horror movie sort of thing, and then it gets silly after that.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, but that's why Shin Godzilla is good. Apparently, they made him terrifying again. Yeah. All right, so we that was the end of the movie, but let's discuss the possibility of doing another anniversary.
Actually, I have some more thoughts on this one. Learned something interesting. So, have you heard of the Bechdel test?
No.
With it's basically for women being represented in movies, and like the test is like, is there more than one woman? Do they talk to each other for more than 10 minutes about something other than a man?
Mm-hmm.
And like, this movie did not pass that test, but people still thought it was like a very strong representation of a woman. So there's a new Makomori test, which is basically, does a female character have an independent plot arc that is not existing only to support a male character's plot arc? And she definitely does. And they use this now as a shorthand to talk about other movies that actually have good female characters, but not more than one, I guess.
That's sweet.
Good to know.
I
Good to
like
know.
that.
I didn't know what that was called, but I had definitely heard of that. You said Pectel test? Is that what you said?
Bechdel with a B,
Pectel.
as in boy, ironically.
Yes, boy. Yeah, I mean, certain movies, there's just not going to be a lot of female characters. I mean, Vince and I talked about Shawshank Redemption recently. It's in a male prison. I mean, how many female characters are you going to have in the damn movie?
Just Raquel Welch, I guess, if you count her.
I do.
All right, with 2 minutes left, John, what are your thoughts on the future?
Well, okay, yeah. So I think next we want to cover a movie from 20 years ago, aka 2003.
Yes.
I sent you both a list of the movies I've happened to see from that year. I'm sure you each have your own that overlap with that.
I actually watched Pirates of the Caribbean just like a week or two ago with my kids.
Is it the first one?
Yeah, first one. But yeah, I'm good with a lot of these. Big Fish, Bad Santa. Hey, here's your opportunity, Vince. You want to do Bad Santa?
Oh man. Well, we talked about pirates on my movie recollection.
Oh, okay. You don't want to go deep to
I'm not, well, I just don't know if I can make a decision right now, actually.
right.
God, this is tough.
Well,
Is that Revolutions, Matrix Revolutions?
Reloaded.
Oh, Reloaded? Well, I mean, I would only do that just to tear into it. That's about it, though. I don't think that's...
I don't think I want to do those.
Yeah, exactly.
Kill Bill is on there.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
The Room. I've never seen The Room. We could I didn't realize that was 2003. This would be an opportunity to see something awful. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Old Boy is on there.
I do like Old Boy.
So wait, Matrix Revolutions is on there. Never mind.
Oh, they came out the same year. That's right. Shit. I don't know.
Know what we had.
All right. Let's figure out the future.
I think 2003 is a lackluster year overall.
Thank you. Let's go to 93.
No, we should stick to the order. Do 20, then we'll do 30. Okay. Here's my list of stuff that I would want to do. I kind of don't really want to do the Lord of the Rings. Especially it's the Return of the King, so seems weird to do that. But anyway, Big Fish, Finding Nemo, Bad Santa, Kill Bill Volume 1, Elf, School of Rock, Dogville, if anybody's seen that, Lars Van Trier, Mystic River, Station Agent.
Ooh, I like Mystic River.
Could do Mystic River. John?
I've never seen it, but I'm up for whatever.
It's Clint Eastwood. Yeah.
I was too busy watching Mystic Pizza.
Oh gosh. I do not get into Julia Roberts. Never have.
Wait, hold on. I need pretend like you never heard that. I'm using that joke on the podcast. Yeah, guys, I watched it. Julia Roberts was great in it.
How about Master and Commander? Well, that's a movie that I've heard referenced over the years that people really love this movie, and I didn't really like it that much the first time I saw it, so I would like to see it again.
Oh man, one of my buddies got obsessed with the book series from that and like just talking nautical shit all the time.
Okay, so no then. All right.
Oh no, I'm fine
No,
with
I'm
it.
jealous,
I've never seen it.
I could finally relate, is what I'm saying.
You know what? That kind of piqued my interest as well. That and Mystic River so far. Out of John's list. See, I don't know. Old Boy that'd be something. Jesus Christ. That's about the only thing that kind of raises my my heartbeat a little bit. And I don't have a list on me. I can't
we should do Bad Santa.
I don't know why I'm deterred. Okay, well, I throw out I throw out either Mystic River or Master and Commander. Because I heard that Master and Commander was pretty good and it got nominated along with Mystic River that year.
John, you have a preference for those two? I'm good either way.
I've never seen either of them, so I don't really have a preference.
Boy, Russell Crowe or Sean Penn?
Paul Bettany or Tim Robbins?
Ooh.
Clint Eastwood or I don't know the
Re-
director.
Regular
Peter Weir.
Sophie's choice here.
Yes, someone's gonna die. Huh.
50-50? We're really on the edge here?
So I haven't seen that either, Master and Commander.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, you said it was okay. You wouldn't mind seeing it twice. Master and Commander's kind of reaching out to me, although I'm not the biggest fan of At Seas movies. At least it's not in a fucking submarine. I will not watch any of those.
What? Why?
Not even down Periscope?
Claustrophobia. I did watch that one. Yeah.
All right. Master and Commander is 138 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Mystic River's got to be 2 hours, I would think, or slightly under. Maybe I'm misremembering.
138 minutes.
Whoa. Dang.
I can't believe that. That's not even a tiebreaker. What's going on?
Do they just cancel each other out? Should we watch something else? I don't know.
All right. Well, we're going to do one of those two. We can just leave it at that and we'll figure it out.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, then in the meantime, like, subscribe, comment. This was my movie recollection anniversary edition with Vincent Cloud,
Matt Hagen,
John Nemitz.
yourself.